Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Tennessee Liquid. Today we're going to be painting the winged beauty herself, Hawkgirl. Stay tuned. To start off with, you want to take all your parts and throw them on a table and hope that something magic happens. I told you there'd be some magic happens when you throw them on a table. And look here, voila, magic. They all appeared on little sticks, sanded and ready to be painted. Let's throw on some primer and get started with the fun. Now this is a good time to inspect your parts to make sure you got all the little lines and everything sanded out before you go to painting, because now you can see it with the primer on it. And you can fix it before you get started with the paint. I found this makeup brush at my local dollar store, and I just figured, if you can paint a face, why can't I paint a model? So I bought it, and it works pretty good. And now it's time for dry brushing. Dry brushing is where you take your hard-earned money and buy these expensive paints just to rub most of it off on a napkin to put it on your model. Nah, seriously though, you want a dry brush just so you can leave the black from your primer down in the little nooks and crannies of your cracks. That way it gives a little more depth to your color. Now when you get that put on, you want to take a lighter color gray and just go around and hit some of the edges in the high spots just to give it a little bit more depth and color into your rock. Because if you look at a rock, they have many different colors in them, so you don't want to just leave it one color. I did take some deck tan and just go over and hit just the very edge of all the ridges of your part just to give it like a little worn down look. I've been seeing these markers all over the internet, so I just decided to buy me some. These markers are really cool. They cover good and they're really shiny, like almost like gold, like this box says, liquid gold. The only problem is these things take forever to dry. So if you use them, just make sure you don't touch it or you have plenty of time to let it dry. Moving on to the airbrush, you take a white, in what I'm calling a fancy word, a zenithal highlight, and you spray that from the top of your model down, kind of like where the light source would be hitting your model if it was standing. Next, you want to take a pink. Any old pink will do. I just choose to use squid pink because that is what I have. You want to spray that on top of your zenithal highlight, but you don't want to cover up all the white, but spray it from the top down just as you did your zenithal highlight. Then you want to grab your red. A transparent red is what I use, but you can use a red ink, and you want to spray that from the bottom, kind of like where the shadows of your part would be, mostly in the bendy parts, your elbows, your wrist, your back of your legs, stuff like that, but in the shaded areas of your part. When you're picking out your skin color, you want to start from the bottom, your base, and go up. So you always want to start dark. Words are hard. You always want to start darker and build your way up to lighter colors. So you just keep building, but you don't want to cover all your pink and your red up. Leave a little bit so you can see it. I do mix my paint though to about 50-50, about 50% water and 50% paint. And then you can always add more color, but it's hard to take it off. When you do your highlight colors, you still mix them about 50-50, but you want to spray them on your highest part of your parts where the light would hit the most. I also forgot to mention, you want to spray this from the top down because that's where your light will hit, and that will really make that dark skin color and that transparent red really pop. I still didn't get the desired look, so I took a sunny skin tone and added just a little bit of white to it and sprayed over the highlighted areas once again. The highlight still wasn't bright enough, so I went to my highly sought after Fairy Flesh set and got my highlight skin out and sprayed that yet again to achieve the desired look that I was looking for. When you don't use a cap on your airbrush, you gotta be sure that you don't get too crazy with your hand moving too fast, because if you noticed, there was a spot of paint that just flew out of my cup and landed on the table, and if that would have landed on my part, I would have had a really sad time. So don't get crazy with it, just take your time. Now with the wings, I didn't want to paint them white. I painted a model once with white wings, just solid white, and they looked a little weird, and I didn't know how to shade them to make them look right. So I chose to use a deck tan this time, and I'm going to come back and dry brush them with the white later. I've only recorded me painting one wing because I didn't figure you would want to sit through all this again, so I just showed you one wing, but the other wing is the exact same as this one. Probably thinking I was going to say wing again, didn't you? was scrolling through TikTok one day, and I'd seen a lady do, she called it Marbleizing on the paint. And I thought, well, man, that looks pretty cool. So I decided to try it on a model. So like everybody that doesn't know things, what do you normally do? You YouTube how you do things. So I watched some videos on how to do this, and I tried it a couple times on some scrap pieces that I had, and it come out pretty good. So I tried several different combinations of colors, dark and light, light and dark, and I finally settled on silver. So if you watch my last video, you notice that I always go to my local hobby shop for things. So I was in there the other day and I seen this DecoArt color that is a extreme sheen. You have to thin this paint down really good because you don't want it to dry too fast. So what you want to do is you want to spray it on there really thick. And if you notice, I only done one leg at a time because I didn't want it to dry on me too super fast. So after you get it sprayed on really thick, you take your saran wrap and you wad it up, and then you just dab it. You just dot all over it and just get all those splotches because you don't want silver just puddled up. And you can always go back and add more silver and retouch it up as you go until you get the color and the desired look that you want. Because you had to spray the silver so thick, you want it super dry. So what I did was borrowed my wife's hair dryer to dry it really fast. Then you want to take a transparent color. I chose green because her pants are green, but it would work with any color transparent paint that you want to use. Blue, green, red, yellow, whatever. Just as long as it's transparent, just so you can see the silver that is underneath. I used that same transparent green to shade in some of the creases that are on her pants. Now this step is really important. You want to make sure it's a gloss coat. I know it's really terrible for pictures, but the flat and the satin just won't give you the look that you want. I had to use 3 coats of this clear to give me the depth of the marbleizing that I wanted it to look like. Now with all the airbrushing done, we get to move on to the brushwork. I painted her boots red because they're supposed to be red. And I only recorded one because, like the wings, I didn't figure you needed me to show you me doing both of them the exact same way. So I only done one. I can't remember if I showed painting the boots white, but you have to have a white base for your red to go down on, because if you don't, you're just gonna have a really bad time with trying to paint red over black. And I also noticed that the white stripes on her boots are supposed to be like bird's feet, I think. Next up is the body. So while I was at my local hobby shop, as I bought my silver, I also bought this emerald green. It's a really cool looking green, but the problem is this paint's pretty thick. So you have to thin it down really thin with water to get it to go on and to look right. So when you do that, you have to paint multiple colors. So I ended up having to put 2 different layers on this green. Now for the center part of her shirt or tank top or whatever you want to call it, it was gold. And if you've ever tried to paint gold, gold is just a mean color to paint. It's just aggravating. But this Pro Acrylic paint, it does pretty good. I still had to put 2 coats on it, but it come out looking really nice. Now for her armbands, I used some of this liquid gold on these markers that I ordered. And if you remember from before in the video, I told you if you use these, you need to let them dry. They take forever to dry. But they sure are shiny when you get them done. Moving on to her spiky ball mace hammer weapon thing, you want to start off painting it a matte black to get rid of all the overspray from the skin tone. While that was drying, I went ahead and painted the handle of the thing, which is supposed to be a wood grain. Now moving back to the spiky ball, the one you painted black, the reason you want to paint it black is because you're going to use a dark silver to go over the black, and it just doesn't look right if you don't paint it black first. I painted what I'm going to call the hilt on the spiky ball hammer thing, a liquid leaf. Now this is an enamel paint, so you will have to clean your brush out with thinner, so make sure you get an old brush. Next off, we're moving on to, I know I've done said it several times, the wings. But the wings this time, I'm going to take a deck tan and highlight them like I said before, to bring out the feathers and the high spots of them to make them look like feathers. And after I got both of them done, I put them together so you can kind of make them match a little bit at the same. You don't want one highlighted more than the other one. It will just look weird. Now painting her head, I tried to use one of the markers and I just couldn't get in the cracks and the crannies and the grooves that I needed to get in with the markers. So I had to take a drill and drill a hole in the end of the marker and pour it into a bottle so I can use a brush on it. And while I was doing this, I just thought I wouldn't pay attention to my camera. And now you're seeing the top of my head. Moving on to the rest of her features, if you have trouble with the eyes, then models with helmets are perfect for the paint because you don't have to paint the eyes. So I just took a deck tan and just painted in the eyes. Now you just take some black and you go back and she has black parts on her helmet. And just paint in all the parts. Just remember, don't touch your gold. And again, I'm sorry for seeing the top of my head. For some reason, my head just wanted to be in the camera that day. And after you get your black stripes painted, throw on some lipstick and call this model done. And here we are again, reached another end to another episode. I would like to say thank you for all y'all hanging around and watching my video. I hope you got a little something from it to help you paint your very own Hawkgirl. And if you don't paint, then I helped you kill a little bit of time. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe to my channel. And pass it along to everybody you know. And leave a little comment for me at the bottom. One last thing before I take off. Remember to be kind and treat people the way you want to be treated. Until the next time, y'all come back now, you hear?